the perfect weather for making snowballs right now. But it is the first snowstorm of the year, so I thought this would be a good time to talk about what I wear in my hands when I'm trying to take photos outside in winter storms, or just generally when it's cold outside, because you know, it can still be cold without snow. So about a year ago, when I started doing a lot more of my drone work outside during the winter, I'd constantly running into this issue where I'd be outside for 30 minutes to an hour with no gloves on, because all my gloves were too thick to use my drone controller that well, because you need to have really good touch with that joystick. And I kept finding my fingers were just freezing and felt like they're about to fall off. So I got a pair of photography gloves to try to combat that. And I've got the PGYTECH gloves, and been using them for about a year now, and I'm pretty satisfied with this purchase. So they're insulated, or they are thin-insulated as they like to advertise. So they keep my hands a lot warmer than just being barehanded like this. So it's about 30 degrees out right now, because you can see it just snowed. It's snowing right now, but I'm not freezing to death. Almost dropped it. But as you can kind of start to see in my hands, just having my glove off, my fingers are starting to turn that cold pink color. But keeping the gloves on, keep your hands a little bit warmer. But what I do want to note is that these are not going to keep your hands warm for hours outside in a storm. What I find is after about an hour, because I was outside earlier playing with my dog in the snow and doing a fun photo shoot, once your gloves do start to get wet from just getting snow inside them, your hands will start to get cold, and my gloves are still a little wet from that, so my fingers are a little numb even with the gloves on, but they're not freezing cold like they would be without them on at all. So here are the gloves up close, and one thing I do like about them is that instead of just one finger or two fingers, you have 3 fingers with touchpads that are supposed to be sensitive to your screen, so I can use these fingers to touch the back of my camera or my phone to slide it open and touch it without having to fully take my glove off. But if, let's say, your screen is wet or you want a little bit more control of what you're doing on your screen, because I will admit sometimes if you're not touching the surface of your screen exactly with the tip of this, it might not read that well. So you can still poke your fingers in and out if you need to do something quickly on a phone or on a tablet. Also, if your fingers, you need them exposed for a little bit longer, all around the gloves where you have the haptic feedback touchpads, you can fully take it off and clip it back. That way you don't get the little glove part in the way of whatever you're doing. Just takes a little bit to snap, and then as you can see, this is secured on my thumb and it's not going to go anywhere unless I pull it off, and I can slide my thumb right back into my glove. So I think these gloves are perfect for someone that's only going to be spending 1 to 2 hours outside. So if you're a drone pilot in New England, that's perfect. If you're going outside for a quick photography adventure, that also works. Or if it's going to stay just above 30 degrees or not drop down too much, then you're probably perfectly fine. If it's going to be a super cold day and you need thick, heavy gloves or mittens for like if it's -5 or between like less than 10 in that range, these are probably not going to keep your hands warm enough. So I'd still suggest bringing one of those big, thicker gloves to keep your hands perfectly warm. And when you get to that spot where you need a little bit of a thinner pair of gloves with a little bit more control for what you're doing, then you could pop these on, probably last you 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how cold it is. That's the factor is, I can't explain how cold these gloves will keep your hands warm, depending on what temperature it is. But if it gets really bad, I mean, you can still, they're thin enough where you can easily put them in your pockets without them being too bulky. And just kind of sliding them on and off isn't actually really hard at all. And what is nice, they've got a little strap which allows you to just get your hand in nicely and then make it as tight to your wrist as possible instead of having to worry about trying to funnel in the end of your glove to your jacket. So I hope this was helpful. If you're cold or you're out there trying to figure out what to get your photographer friend in the middle of winter, I would definitely highly recommend these, because no one likes cold fingers when they're outside in the middle of the winter. But as always, let's freak out.